That too. Is the great crane here? Do the cranes come here? The first thing to do is to throw oneself flat on the ground and try to make oneself invisible among the low-growing tussocks and bushes, to make this shy giant, the crane, think one has vanished, to hide one's human face from the distant voyager, the shy bird that has come home, to bore one's chin and mouth down into the moss until only the eyes are showing. For with one's eyes one may mirror the shy, pure crane. The moss with its taste of what has been or what shall be, it is on one's lips. It is the crown of the marsh. Enormous objects exist down in the marsh darkness and the marsh horrors, but up in the light of day there is only the moss, delicate and innocent on the summit. That was the crane arriving. It mistrusts man. There are probably more of them. If one has come, another wheels in and settles. Of course, they come in flocks. I've probably stumbled on their own marsh in trying to find an old marsh dream or whatever it is I'm looking for. The cranes have come to spend the summer here, to raise their young, this year as last year. Shy, shy, they float down far away. In a flash they saw there was something that did not belong here. The powerful wingspan seemed to clutch the air. Better to settle far away. They mistrust this object lying in the marsh. But neither will they give up their own marsh. A darkness in the air. Was it a shock? No, they are welcome. I didn't know about them, but they are welcome all the same. They are a part of what one is circling round, wishing to approach, wishing to fill a void with. Welcome with all that they are. The great bird folds his wings. With my eye above the moss, I can watch. It stands in the marsh with uplifted, inquiring head. The next one follows immediately after and takes up the same position. I am quivering with excitement. It is like a kind of happiness. I am lying in cold marsh moisture that slowly penetrates my clothes, making me damp and filthy, but I am warmed by the sight of the cranes. I am on the cranes' own territory. I seem to have entered a sacred place where one has no right to be. In any case, it is essential to press myself down into the moss and make myself as invisible as I can. To become a pale tussock in a wind cheetah beside the dwarf birch bushes, to stare blindly, as the hundreds of puddles are doing, to convince myself that the birds will be taken in by it, to stare at the cranes. That's a lot in itself. One after the other arcs down. Are they surprised about something? The spring must be colder and more naked than they had imagined when they set out. No one told them about it. They had to make their journey without knowing how things looked on their marsh. They obeyed a sound within themselves and left. Now they are standing here, somewhat doubtful in a frozen spring. Wave after wave of joy passes through me, in spite of the penetrating moisture that is trying to disturb my happiness. Their air is continually darkened with wings. They settle down at a distance, long-necked, searching, on guard. My marsh eye watches them and can mirror them. The crane's eye also seems to rest on everything. From the air they saw the wind cheetah tussock that should not have been there. They move far away and look in that direction. Come closer, I wish at the same moment as intensely as never before. They do not understand. It does not occur to them to approach a human being. They have returned from a long journey. They walk, dignified and cautious, far away and without apprehension. The human means nothing to them. But how must this end, and what is really happening to me? They walk there in serene ferment after their long journey. They stretch their necks, maneuvering in order to settle down and rest in familiar surroundings. In equal ferment, the bundle lies among the tussocks, following their movements. This must end in something special from the way they're moving. They don't seem to be settling down yet, after all. Fresh stabs of joy. It's sure to end in the dance I've heard about. The dance will soon begin, now that they have arrived after their great journey and their mysterious experiences. The dance will break free. They have reached their goal in the land of snow. And before one is prepared for this rare sight, it happens. The crane is dancing. The marsh has acquired a new content, a hidden magnitude brought on by the crane. The marsh has been lying here, knowing about it all winter. The crane is dancing now. Look at it once, and then never again. The crane is dancing. Look at it once for all. The cold marsh moisture penetrates my clothes and my skin. My position is cramped, making many muscles ache or sleep, but I scarcely feel it. It is not important. I think only of concealing as much of myself as possible. How long have I been lying without moving and become one with marsh moisture and marsh cold, and with all the puddles around me? I don't know. It is not relevant. One does not inquire about time or moisture. The cranes begin dancing. Something broke out in them together with the spring, and broke out as dance with extraordinary gestures and strange exaggerations. They are certainly not thinking as clearly now as when they came sweeping in over the land. Their sight is not as keen. In the fever of the dance, they are moving gradually in my direction. They are much closer than before. In their stiff, solemn yet harrowing dance. Blinded by the dance, they do not see the strange tussock, still, for some reason, moving in this direction. Soon they will be close beside me. Oh no, it won't happen. The ritual will not make them so blind as to trample on me. But gradually I am among them, all the same. That's the effect they have on me. Come closer, I wish in my delirium. It is a strong wish, stronger than necessary perhaps, if this were observed from the outside, but extremely important to me in the moss. They dance and mime, and it is important. Their curious writhings in the ritual seems to become extremely important to me. Come closer. They come closer as the pace quickens, but not on account of me and my delirium. The course of the dance is leading here all the same. Perhaps there is something about their movements that causes it, that guides them. Again one has to ask, do I see this, or have I fallen deep into a marsh dream? Is it mirrored in all these blurred marsh eyes round about as in mine? One has to ask, who is this, dancing and gesticulating? Do I see it? Crane after crane, what does it mean? It could have been a dream, it is true, but it is no dream. I am lying in the marsh, all wet, and I know that it is real. I might be bewitched, of course. Birds, one says facilely. They are a heavenly throng. This is more than mere birds, far more than what one sees when not bewitched. Something has bewitched me, and the marsh, and all the puddles. This is beyond my concern. I only feel that it is so. I see it mirrored, and I feel it once more, even though it is beyond my concern. The great birds were ecstatic and bewitched when they arrived, and they sweep all else with them. But it is still beyond me. There is savagery and frenzy in their stiff, dignified cross-turns and inventive gestures, something chilled and harrowed and solemn. Some sort of suppressed yet uncontrollable sound must guide the antics that are released and recapture themselves with a crosswise motion. They are not birds. They are ourselves when we have passed between the millstones, crossed the thorny wastes, gone through the fire, undertaken wondrous journeys, and given away our heart to things unworthy of it, with the resulting humiliation unto death. Then it happens. Then we must dance like this. Then we clothe ourselves in the proud guise of the crane and sail through the world, away from the flesh-pots, to find a familiar marsh, utter wild shrieks and invent frenzied gestures. In all this, the puddles too act out their ritual. Between the small ones that have formed in animal tracks, there are large puddles and pools around a brook that have wandered out onto the marsh and are finding it difficult to escape. There are deep pools with swaying, half-floating turfs. In this water one sees the dance when it spreads out to the banks. Someone lying with his chin in the moss can catch only glimpses of it, but he does see it. The dance in the water mirror, head down and feet up, making it even more real and true. The weak banks give way under the weight of the enormous birds. They move right out among the broken stalks of last year's withered grasses that dip their heads in the water. The turfs shiver delicately. The water shivers in rhythm, and the ripples shatter the mirror image. But not for long. The surface is smoothed out. The image returns. It all shivers anew. It all moves in rhythm, and all is solemn frenzy.